plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies, and rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, for a man age 45 non-tobacco user, it's $1 million of coverage at $75 per month, level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
Pensacola Beach isn't just a sun-soaked white sand paradise. It's also the best dance floor in 50 states. Every Tuesday night, the stage near the Beach Ball comes alive with great music you know and love. Bands on the Beach are free shows every Tuesday through October, and they're brought to you by the Santa Rosa Island Authority. Tomorrow, it's Pearl Clarkin and Rhinestone. She's from the Pensacola Beach area. She went up to Nashville, put together a great female group, and they are going to play some of your favorite country songs. Join us for live music every Tuesday night at 7 for Bands on the Beach.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Fair Week, we'll be out there Thursday, Friday, and all of next week. Say something good about your team? We do work on bribes for funnel cakes. Huge upset in college football. The Gamecocks rise up for the occasion, walk right in between the hedges, and pull out an exciting victory. LSU and Alabama, big wins. In the NFL, Saints continue to dominate on D. A mini apocalypse has hit Dallas. Baker's still ticked off, and the Niners are for real. Sports Drive, Fair Week, 5 to 7, right here on ESPN Pensacola.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. WEBY Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
And welcome to Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. I am Chad Brillante. Glad to be with you here as always, as we have a lot to get to on today's show. We're going to get to the big games coming up here in Monday Night Football. The New York Jets getting Sam Darnold back. He was able to beat last week the Dallas Cowboys and Mono in the same week, and now he will be out there on the football field taking on the GOAT, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick, still undefeated with San Francisco for the two top records in the NFL. We'll get to all the big games, including Dallas getting a nice victory. Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, all he did was put up not one, not two, but 6 touchdowns, and also a big win for the Indianapolis Colts. And the former player who was drafted by the next voice you will hear, Coach K. Stevenson, joining us, former NFL coach for the Buffalo Bills and player as well, a Florida Gator quarterback. Coach, it's great to catch up, and we have so much to get to on today's show.
Well, we do. It's big Monday as usual. Had a heck of a weekend. There were many games that will play a big part in the future of what we're going to see with the playoffs and some great performances by people.
It was, and also it's not every single week where you have the two biggest talked about names when it comes to the quarterback position for your sports. And quarterbacks sell. That's why if you untie a shoelace of a quarterback these days, you're probably going to get a 15-yard penalty. They're protecting the image and their brand, and I don't blame them. When Brett Hundley came in for Green Bay, not too many people were lining up down the street to watch Brett Hundley matchups for the Green Bay Packers. It makes sense that way, but when Patrick Mahomes and Tua both go out with scares over the week, it's been a one of those frightening type of weeks for both NFL and college football. However, it looks like at the end of the road, it's only going to be a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think for both of them. Unfortunately, it's only going to be a couple of weeks, and it couldn't have happened at a more opportune time for Alabama. Let's look at that one. They have Arkansas coming up now. Nothing is a gimme, and Arkansas is going to play them, and they'll play them like it's their Super Bowl. And they're going to play them extremely hard and could make some plays. You know, they got a very innovative coach, and there's some things that would scare you if you can't move the ball at all. Now, that won't be the case. I think Moore will do a good job. He'll have all week to get all the snaps offensively. He'll be much more comfortable with it and have a better feel for what he's doing in the ball game. And then the week after that, Alabama gets a bye. Okay, so it'll be then they play LSU. Of course, that's a game everybody is looking toward, and could very well be the national championship game right there, very easily.
It's going to be, and it looks like right now the latest news, and we'll keep you posted on what Tua Tagovailoa, as every Alabama fan sits on the edge of their seat, and so does the LSU fans, because if they win that game in the driver's seat. But quarterback Tua Tagovailoa vowed he would be back for the team's rivalry game against LSU in a few weeks after suffering that ankle injury Saturday night against Tennessee. He's expected to miss the next game against Arkansas. They could run a Wildcat formation, Coach, and probably be okay in that one. Arkansas is just not that good of a football team. They lost by about, I think it was 5 touchdowns this week to Auburn. I think they'll be fine there. Then they get the bye week, which is huge because they can rest and get their whole team healthy, even if they had the backup plan to say, we have to go with Mac. We have to go with the running game. At least at this point, they'll have a week to prepare, not having to go up against one of the powerhouses of the SEC.
Yeah, this is a very opportune bye week for them, and certainly they'll make use of it. And it's like with Kansas City. I think they've got it's going to be a little tougher for him coming up, but I think they do have a bye week in here for him to take advantage of, and he's probably going to be back after that. I think they're looking at 3 weeks for him, which would include a bye week. You'd only miss one game if that's the case.
Let's go to 4 down territory here, where we're going to go over some of the biggest stories from the weekend, and you let me know what you think with your NFL expert advice on each of the games and also the players. All right, let's start off here with first down. From what we saw this week, an atrocious game overall, not just but the entire team in LA's 37-10 victory over Atlanta. They had the game on the Jumbotron down at World of Beer. We were watching that. We did a tailgate show down there on Sunday. But, Coach, at this point, is Matt Ryan still a good quarterback in the NFL, or is he just not having the support from his offensive line?
Matt Ryan is a good quarterback. He's still a good quarterback in the NFL. No doubt in my mind about that. He is getting no support whatsoever. And more pressure is being put on him, and he's accepting more and more and trying to get it done. He's trying to do too much. He's a good quarterback. They need a whole revamped structure up there. It looks to me like they're a football team with no direction right now and no discipline. Now, that falls back on the coach, unfortunately. He's a fine guy and all that, but it's probably going to mean a shake-up from top to bottom. I just hope that they do the right thing and get somebody in there who can know what's going on and can put together a program. I'll tell you who would be an ideal choice as far as I'm concerned, and I've heard his name already mentioned, but McCarthy, who was the head coach at Green Bay, did a great job up there. Mike is sitting back. Was offered a job last year. Was offered the Jet job and turned it down. Okay, he's there. He's prepared. I think he would do a very good job. Now, how he gets along with the the administrative staff, I don't know. But on the surface, I would think he would do a good job.
Ever since, and at this point too, Matt Ryan dealing with that leg injury, and we'll keep you posted on more with that. But 1-6 on the season, it's going to be pretty tough right now for the Falcons. Their season, especially the way the Saints are playing in that division and the way Carolina has turned things around, it'll be tough at this point, pending a miracle to come back this year. Looking at second down here, the Dallas Cowboys last night, watching that game, a lot of people had settled in after what was a pretty nice day outside. Beautiful weather, so people might have been out with the family doing things. Come home for that game last night. Dallas 37-10 victory over the Cowboys. Coach, second down, are both of these teams playoff contenders, or from what we saw last night, Philadelphia's got a lot of trouble?
Well, it's easy to jump off and jump on. There are people now shouting Dallas again, Super Bowl today. You can bet anything you want to bet your mortgage on it. I mean, they're talking about, they just took 3 weeks off, but they'll be in the Super Bowl. You can see. That's not necessarily the case. They may be there, but that's not a gimme by any stretch. In fact, I wouldn't say they're in the top 3 or 4 right now. But Philadelphia, not as good as or as bad as we think today.
They've done this all season with their up and down games.
Yeah, they've been up and down, which is not good. But now the point now is, of course, in their division, it's not that bad because even 4 losses, they're still in second place. So they could turn this around, but they're going to have to now. There is going to be some pressure on them. They cannot continue. They can't lose another ball game right now. Not that they're going to have to go through the rest of the year undefeated. They will. They can probably lose a ball game near that, but they've got to get some momentum going right now. That's why I say they can't afford another loss. But they could come back and turn the season around. Philadelphia's a good football team.
Coach, let's get to third down here. Looking at the Minnesota Vikings, they've turned it around ever since the Adam Thielen conversation with, well, not really conversation, just pure out calling out his quarterback and Kirk Cousins. They have turned it around, and now a huge win right there. A tough win. The score was a little misleading of how close this game was, 42-30. Minnesota wins by 12, but they scored late into that game in the final seconds. The Vikings are now 5-2 and starting to play their best football. Dalvin Cook looks like the best running back in the NFL. Are the Vikings a true contender right now for not only the playoffs, but to win the NFC?
Absolutely. And we've said that since day one. Vikings are a good football team from top to bottom. Defense, offense, got a credible offensive line. And I have said continually that Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. I certainly maintain that, not just because he had a good game. But when he was having his troubles, not all his problem, but he's a good quarterback. And he's a competitor. You can tell, boy, he put everything on his shoulders and came back and played like a man. I really admire what he did. I think they're going to be in there. Look, they've got a good coaching staff. I think they have the quarterback. What do we talk about when we talk about what does it take to win? Mm-hmm. And they've got a good defense, and they can put pressure on the passer. They got a good kicking game. There's nothing that's going to stop them except a better football team or themselves right now.
And fourth down, one that a lot of people in this area will be paying attention to over the next couple weeks, New Orleans. They are now 6-1. Teddy Bridgewater is 4-0 as a starting quarterback. He has taken over, not missed a beat, and it just seems like each and every week he continues to find a way to dominate and get it done. And at this point, actually 5-0 now, and you look at the matchup. They go out there, they win the game, 36-25. It was actually not even that close. Chicago was able to get some points late into that ball game. But, Coach, right now, within the organization, the Benson family, even though Mr. Benson passed away and everything that is going on, what is the conversation about the future of Teddy Bridgewater? A great backup until Breeze maybe one day retires, or get your money's worth when you have an opportunity because his stock could never be higher? What's the conversation? Because when Breeze comes back, it's going to be his job, no matter what. But I'm just looking at this team and saying people have to be excited for what they're seeing because Teddy Bridgewater is starting to play each and every week, and the defense is great, but he's starting to look like a better, more comfortable quarterback each and every week.
Yeah, and I don't think they're down to those conversations yet. In the back of their mind, they know that Breeze will be back. I think Breeze is going to play another 2 to 3 years at least. Bridgewater will be up. Here's what you got to look at the end of the year. He's going to be up for another contract. You always want to have your backup quarterback. I'm sure they'd love to keep him. And we used to say, the backup quarterback is really the 12th man on your roster. I'm sure they'd like to keep him, but they also like Hill, Tyson Hill, who plays an awful lot. Not playing too much now at the quarterback position, but he's a receiver. I think he caught 2 touchdown passes the other day. He's a tough kid. They like him. He can run with the football. Even when Breeze is in there, they put him in to run certain plays where the quarterback runs with the football, quarterback power player, something. He's a big kid. So they've got a lot to consider there, but my guess is that the price is going to be the major obstacle there, because they do have to consider they don't want to start carrying apart a good football team, which you would have to do if you're not careful there with your salary cap. But they're in great shape, and guys got a good football team and playing exceptionally well. So you love the Saints.
By the way, this is a rarity, and I don't think I've ever seen it. But, Coach, have you ever had a situation where you saw an onside kick? And this just so happened to be the team you coach right there in Buffalo. But the Bills, Micah Hyde runs back. I'm laughing even saying it right here, but he runs back an onside kick for a touchdown against when things you don't think can get any worse. Willie Taggart ices his own kicker for Florida State, and the Miami Dolphins, right in the closest game they've been in all year, have an onside kick run back for a touchdown. As a head coach in all your years and experience for decades in the game, have you ever seen something or thought that could even happen?
Oh, yes. I have seen pretty much the same thing now in Canada. We had a kicker who was so skilled that we could put the ball in the air. We had a big, tall receiver we'd put on the outside, and he would go down on kickoffs. And we've actually had the kicker with his foot throw him the ball high, he'd catch it on the sideline, run it in for a touchdown. So I've seen some crazy things, and I've seen it in the National Football League as well.
The way Ryan Tannehill played, is he back to being a legit starter in the NFL? He looked pretty good this week. I know it was one of those games and not a lot of people were watching against the Chargers, but from what I saw in the highlights, he looked to have a good game.
He did a good job filling in. I think that's basically going to be his future in the league. He could, catch on with another team. Got a good enough team around him. He's experienced. He could give him a good job for 2 or 3 years or so. But I don't know. I would guess his job is going to be filling in from now on.
The Colts, what Frank Reich has done with this team, incredible coaching, and now they get the win 30-23, a big interception late of Deshaun Watson, but they're doing it as the complete package. That's the thing is, when you look at this team, sometimes when you have a Jacoby Brissett taking over, who, remember, a lot of people forget, this isn't a Bridgewater case. This isn't a case of a guy, that's their quarterback right now. Andrew Luck is retired. He's done. So that's their quarterback right now for the time being. But a huge win, a pivotal win in the AFC South when everybody around them, the Jags got a big win. You have teams that are trying to fight for that spot. And right now they're sitting there at the top after beating Deshaun Watson. That was a very great team effort as Watson continued to battle. He'd have those quick drives where he'd find Hopkins. He'd find the guys downfield. They'd score. But the Colts just kept battling off, and I got to say, out of all the teams I was impressed with, the way the Colts faced adversity and got the victory on Sunday was about as good as it gets.
I am very proud of the Colts. I'm proud of Frank Reich, and that's part of his personality. I think I stated this earlier. He's a great competitor. The guy holds the greatest comeback in college and the greatest comeback in the National Football League as a quarterback. Now, what can you say? I mean, how could you do both? How could you do one of them, much less both? He did it. You got to be an unbelievable competitor not to give up the ship when you're behind by 30-something points and come back and win the ball game. Just doesn't happen. Frank is doing an outstanding job. The quarterback did, I thought, an outstanding job. He's being coached extremely well. He's listening. He's playing a lot like Frank would play. I'll be honest with you. Very sharp with his passes, very safe. But we'll take the shot when you get it. You can bet those shots were anticipated, worked on during practice, and he knew that's when they wanted to go downfield. Very, very strong show in all aspects for the Colts, and I'm very proud of them. Hope I'd like to see them go all the way, for crying out loud. But also, the other thing that came out of the ball game, just a week ago, we had a ton of people who had Watson up for MVP. So, I don't know. It's kind of funny.
I wonder if all those naysayers, or not the naysayers, but all the people that that jump in on, I call them, the fishing world knows them as the remora, the sucker fishes out there. For everybody that thought just a week ago when they got ready for football, if they would have thought this week that they're beloveds in the NFL and college for a good reason, when they seem like nice guys, but Tua would be out, Patrick Mahomes would be out, Deshaun Watson would be losing a game to Jacoby Brissett straight up, and you would have a situation where now all of a sudden the Niners had to sweat it out against the Redskins. I mean, it is crazy the amount of things that can happen in 1 week, and that's football. Look, Wisconsin, who is a really good football team still, loses to Illinois, and that's a 35-point spread, Coach. Things can happen. That's why you play the game, and obviously that's a surprise. I mean,
we're going to get on college football here in a minute, but I will tell you off the bat right up top, that's been the biggest shock to me of any football game so far this year was the Wisconsin loss to Illinois. Just could not believe it. I felt as though Wisconsin had a chance to win the national championship. Now what really concerns me is they play Ohio State this week. What did that game last week do to their psyche? They were rolling along with a lot of momentum, and these kids, you got to understand how they function, what they think. But now all of a sudden, Illinois, the worst team in the Big 12, worst team in Midwestern football, beats them. What are they thinking? Are they thinking, well, we just made a big mistake? Now, obviously, they were looking ahead. One of those games where you get caught. But how is it going to affect them against Ohio State? I'm afraid that it's going to have an adverse effect, that it's going to be tough for them. Last week at this time, they were looking at a possible national championship run. Now they're looking at being the dogs, the dredges. And I don't think it looks good for them.
Well, and it's easy to overlook a team, and we'll get to more on that, but the way they did against, everybody says those trap games of the teams preparing for a week ahead, this one should be used as the poster child of that, because Wisconsin not getting up for Illinois in this might have cost them a shot at competing not only for a Big Ten title, but also for a national championship opportunity. When we come back, we'll get to more on what's going on in college football. As a big week, the Florida Gators get a nice win. Alabama wins, but Tua is going to have to rush back for that huge 1 possibly versus 2 matchup when LSU takes on Alabama. We'll get to more on the big win against Auburn over Arkansas, and also Oklahoma, Ohio State continue to roll. It's all coming back. It's Talk Football with the former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. We're also going to be giving away a pair of tickets for Florida State hosting Syracuse coming up here on the program as well. 623-1330 is the number to be part of the show. We're coming back. It's Talk Football with Coach K, off and running on this Monday morning.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text. Stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. And we give you this toy monkey, which will bang its cymbals when the right resume appears. Okay, there is no monkey.
I said there is no monkey!
But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
A change in season means it's time to check your tires. And Goodyear Auto Service has just what you need to make this fall great. Think weekend getaways, scenic drives, and great deals, like up to $225 in savings this month. That's $75 in instant savings when you purchase and install a set of 4 new Goodyear or Dunlop tires, plus up to $150 back on select tires by online or mail-in rebate when you use your Goodyear credit card. But hurry, this offer ends October 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Visit GoodyearAutoservice.com to learn more.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh my gosh, that's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk to that compelling moron.
He's nothing but a lame-headed old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You out of your freaking mind, cowturd.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Talk football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante with you here alongside the former NFL coach as we break down all the big games and get into some college football talk. Coach, it was a weekend of excitement, but late into that game where, for the folks that didn't know Alabama, yeah, they got to light up their cigars in tradition, beating Tennessee, the cross-division rival. But losing Tua was the big story. I mean, that was the one right there where the difference between him being there and not could have been the difference of not only LSU, but getting to a national title, having an opportunity. And, you know, Mac Jones isn't a horrible quarterback, but, Coach, I think because this defense for the Alabama Crimson Tide isn't one of the better defenses they've ever had, still could be top 3, still could be maybe the best in college football, but because it's not some of those other ones where they could win those 21-0 games every single week, it seems. I think that it would be he has to get back. And it looks like his confidence is to come back and be ready to go in 2.5 weeks against LSU. What were your first thoughts? And you played quarterback, to have that high ankle sprain, him being a mobile quarterback, getting outside the pocket a little to make throws. What was your first impression of, the injury and what he's saying that he can be back in a couple weeks?
Well, let me first preface by saying, under no circumstances am I a doctor or a trainer. I've only had experience with these things. Normally, with a high sprain, it requires a little more time than you would want, obviously. Certainly more than a normal ankle.
Did you have
sprain.
a couple of those injuries as a quarterback?
I did, and when you have a high ankle sprain, the severity, of course, is different in each one. This doesn't seem to be the very severe kind if they want him back in 2 weeks, basically 3 weeks. But what happens, the difference, Chad, is on a high ankle sprain, usually the muscle sheath, the sheath around the muscles, certain muscles, is ruptured or torn, and the muscle then protrudes out through the sheath, and it is extremely painful because when you put weight on it, or move or torque or whatever, the muscle then protrudes that much more through the sheath, and it's not a very comfortable situation and creates a lot of weakness. So it is difficult, and the muscle sheath doesn't heal back as quickly as if you just had normal ligament sprain, let's say, a sprained ankle, and you get better healing. But it can be done, I suppose. Now, I'm not certain what the surgery. He went in and had minor surgery on Sunday, and I'm not sure what that does. Maybe other than maybe there's some obvious repair that they can do that I'm not aware of with it. But my goodness, they can do things now they couldn't do 2 months ago. So best of luck, and I think he'll be back. I agree with you. They really need him for LSU. And I think there's a good chance he will be ready. He's not the type kid who's going to be running all over the field. Now, yes, does have to move in the pocket, and he does that judiciously, and gets the lane and throws the football. But he's basically a throwing quarterback, a passing quarterback, and they'll probably have him casted almost to the point, so much tape on there that it holds everything in and makes it very stiff, but he doesn't have to have all the mobility that, say, a Jackson or some other type quarterback would.
And, Coach, one of the things, this conversation, because it's very intriguing. I mean, we pay attention to the Alabama Crimson Tide. The fans are thinking of one thing. They look at athletes, and they might love them. Look, people are texting. Jalen Hurts lit up a cigar afterwards in the victory. Like, as a former player, that's what they do, tradition after the Tennessee win. But with all that being said, athletes are commodities to a lot of fans, meaning that they're there because they're helping your team, the team you cheer, the team your kid wears the gear, win games. And when they're gone, they root for the next guy. When Brett Favre was gone, and everybody was shocked when this young guy from Cal was going to take his place, and then he did, and then everybody the next week was saying, all right, well, it's Aaron's team. We like this guy. Go Rodgers. Well, what's happening here with Alabama is a situation that goes beyond football. What you have is, and for the folks that think it's that's a lingering injury with his ankle, it's the opposite ankle from last year. So this is a completely new injury to his other ankle. So now he has two from last year. It wasn't one of those lingering effects. This is a brand new ankle. The difference with this, as you just said, the mobility, the direction could also lead to a more serious injury because he can't get outside the pocket. Somebody hits him hard, and his career could be going down the tank. I look at this and say, I know Alabama fan wants him back. Nick Saban said, Tua Tagovailoa suffered a high ankle sprain last night against Tennessee. Our physicians performed a successful tightrope procedure on his right ankle this morning. This is the same injury, but the opposite ankle from last year. He'll miss next week's game against Arkansas, but we expect a full, speedy recovery. Now, if he doesn't get back, let's say he had that decision where he's like, Coach, I'm just not ready to go. And he goes out there and he plays against, or he doesn't play against LSU. They lose the game and he is booed. Or he goes out there and plays and gets hurt even more. This is the number one pick in next year's NFL draft. I mean, unless something happens, he's the number one pick. They got Tank for Tua shirts, for Pete's sake, out there in Miami. Coach, this goes beyond just making a decision to win a national title or hurry back to win a game against LSU. This could be a detriment if he goes back too quickly. that could affect his number one spot and a lot of money in his pocket for his future. I haven't seen something that has this much, well, sort of up in the air as this decision, and I think he wants to come back and play. But rushing back could also lead to more than just a football game for college football.
Chad, I can understand your concern, but this is not as big a decision as you think it is. Okay, he's going to play.
He's going to play.
He's going to play against LSU, and rightfully so. And it's not, they're not going to put him out there if there's they're going to put him out there. He may not have the best feel in that ankle. They may have it taped from, to Kingdom Come. And I'm sure they will. They'll have it fixed to the point that he's not going to do any more damage. Now, you say, well, it may put him in a position where he may get hit and hurt, where he couldn't move. It's just not going to inhibit the way he moves. It's not going to inhibit that much the way he moves. Number two, you couldn't keep him out of there with a stick of dynamite. That's number two, or his parents or anybody. And thirdly, you've got a whole football team and a university to some extent, a lot of people who are depending, and it's a part of the game. We try to explain to kids when you come on, listen, this is a dangerous game if you want to look at it that way. You can very easily look at it that way. But you're taking certain risks. Guys that work on all rigs and other things, shipping, fishing boats and whatever, there are inherent dangers involved in it.
Linemen for power companies.
Anything out there. Police, firemen. My goodness, think about all the things that there's inherent danger every time you line up to go to work. And this is a part of it. It's a part of the game. If he can play, he's going to play. Mm-hmm. And he rightfully so. He should play, and there's nothing wrong with the doctors say he can play, and that's it. I know coach is going to override a doctor.
And that's the key here. If the doctors say he's play, he should play.
He should play.
Yeah, this isn't a conversation of one of those small bowl games where a Leonard Fournette or a guy like Clowney or somebody is sitting out the bowl game just so they could get a better stock. If he can play in this game and the doctors have cleared him, then to me 100% you need to play. I'm just saying one of those where the doctors sort of look at the coach and they look back at him and like, if he doesn't play against LSU, we don't win a national title. My legacy, his legacy, and that doctor's like, sure, put him on the field. One of those kind of things. That bye week is so huge because if it wasn't 2 weeks, and I've suffered a lot of injuries to the ankle. I've only got one ligament left. And I know from my days, I got a rebound in basketball one time, went to turn down the court. About a 6'7" center was still standing on my foot when I tried to move. My body didn't go with me, but my ankle turned this way, and my body didn't go that way. So I understand I was on crutches. Before there was elevators at schools, I had to walk up with my rear, my back. They would laugh at me because I'd go up there like a little bouncy up the stairs on my backside and have someone carry the crutches. And I did that for about 4 months. And I'll tell you, it's not fun. But I do know that I did play basketball with a ankle brace and was able to go through in pain, but able to play because I was cleared at a level where nobody really cared, like hundreds of millions of people around the country. How will this affect his Heisman Trophy? Do you think that at this point, if he does miss one game, but he comes back healthy, they beat LSU, is that going to linger? I know that's not what they care about, but from our media conversation.
If he comes back and they beat LSU, of course, the Heisman Trophy wrongfully is decided before the national championship. It should be the other way. But if they come back, in essence, that's going to be the national championship game. If they're both undefeated, which they should be, Alabama and LSU will be for the national championship, by proxy anyway. Mm-hmm. And they come back and they win that ball game, I think he'll win the Heisman, yeah.
Well, it's still it's good news for Alabama fans. Not good news at the beginning, but good news to see that he can return that game against LSU. We'll talk some more about the games coming up here. The Florida victory. We'll get into more on, the Jeremy Pruitt situation, as the world has changed a lot in college football. If Coach is going to get fired for that, I've got a list of about 75 people that I need to make calls for tomorrow because that was my high school career. We're coming back for more right here. It's Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range, Highway 29 in Car City.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
It's happening. Wherever plays are being made, tickets are being sold, and fans are lining up. ADP is designing a better way to work. With industry-leading HR, talent, time, benefits, and payroll, more companies rely on ADP than any other HR partner to help step up their game. From small business to global enterprise. See how ADP can help you and your people achieve what you're working for at design.adp.com. ADP, always designing for people.
Do you have frequent heartburn? Like the kind where you have antacids stashed everywhere in case it pops up? You know what I mean. You keep some in your bag or your desk or your car or your nightstand. You have those chalky tablets ready for whenever and wherever heartburn strikes. Well, listen up. There's an easier way to deal with your heartburn. Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day will last a full 24 hours with zero heartburn. Kick your antacid habit. It's possible with Prilosec OTC.
Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Talk football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante, Coach K. Stevenson, former NFL coach. You can weigh in. 623-1330 is the number. We will be giving away a pair of tickets to Florida State and Syracuse this week, so you can weigh in on that as well. And, Coach, you know, you look right now at the Florida State Seminoles just because, and we're not going to take up too much time. There's a lot of games to get to. Penn State gets a win over Michigan, huge win. Wisconsin, the big upset, is a 35-point favorite over Illinois. They fall. But the way that happens, because you're a head coach, and we can speculate playing armchair quarterback, but you've been there on the sidelines where you've had to make tough calls, and when they work, you look great, and when they don't, everybody wants to berate you. Well, it seems like Willie Taggart's list of getting berating is overthrowing like a monsoon right now, the ones that he's made good calls on, but icing his own kicker. He calls a timeout seconds before the kick. Some people said it was to not get a delay a game, but to me, it looked like they had plenty of time. They end up losing. They get the ball back, fumble a couple times. I mean, the whole team is in disarray. Losing a game when you have the lead against Wake Forest should never happen to the Florida State Seminoles at this point in their history. But Taggart loses that game from a coaching perspective, not media and press of whether he's going to be in his job. From a coaching perspective, was that a terrible move?
Yeah, I'd have to say it's certainly not a good move, and I hate it for all coaches. I know what he's going through. He's going through a big big makeover down there, if you will. I would not agree with the way that he's going about it, but that's his way. And it's not working, and they really have some major foundational problems at FSU right now. I don't know how they're going to handle it, but they're going to have to do something pretty soon because, you got a lot of things involved. It's not just the attendance at games. It's the overall interest in your program. It's recruiting. It's giving to the athletic program and the university. The football generates additional monies for libraries and everything else. So there's an awful lot at stake here, and something's going to have to be addressed. And I'm not sure how they're going to do it, or if it's going to get turned around. I would say it's if you lose the discipline and the organizational foundation of your football team, it's going to be difficult to turn it.
Coach, real quickly on the situation with Jeremy Pruitt grabbing a face mask of Jarrett Guarantano right there. They lose the game. It's there was a couple tough plays. He wasn't listening to Coach. He actually audibled at the line on a pivotal play that cost them, and that's why Pruitt went over the top. He called off the play call, made his own choice, and it was a terrible move, and it ended up costing them a 14-point swing. But Coach Pruitt, obviously, he's a heated kind of guy. He's an emotional. Football coaches get that way. I've seen more of the heated kind than the ones that are very stoic. And he goes out there and grabs a face mask. Now, this happens in football, but today's world, I mean, some of these people writing some of the comments to fire him. You should fire him because they have, 1 or 2 wins. That's what I'd fire him before, but down the road. But right now, to me, we need to stop, and we need to get over these kind of things because the intent of that was no more than to just light a fire.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's like everything else. You got people jumping on and off the bandwagon, and more so than ever before.
That would never happen when you played, right? You never got your face mask touched or anything like that.
Yeah. But let me say this about that particular thing. Now Pruitt is a very emotional guy. He was a defensive player at Alabama. What would you expect? And he's very competitive. That's his personality. It may not be suited for that particular. If that's what you want in a head coach, he may not be the type guy you want there. All right, but I think he's done a pretty good job up there. We'll see how he does after this year, the spring recruiting, and another year. But as far as touch, I saw it, and he didn't grab the guy's face mask. He actually just touched it to turn his face so he was looking him in the face. And but even that, and let me say that this is giving people fuel for disastrous results, really.
Yeah,
but let me say this first. I don't agree with coaches in any way touching a player, and I don't think there's even though when I grew up there, that was just part of it. I mean, you may be grabbed and jerked around like a rag doll if you didn't get the job done, but no, I didn't. Listen, I played the game, and I always told our players, listen, I did not want someone doing that to me or disrespecting me on the sideline in front of the cameras, in front of the people. I'm not going to do that to you. If I've got something to say, we'll say it as man to man, and then if we've got something further to say, we'll say it in the locker room or in my office. We will not say it in front of other people. By the same token, if I see you doing it to a coach or disrespecting anybody else, then you're gone. You're out of here. There's no second on that. We're not going to do that. So anyway, I had a very strict rule against that.
Well, I agree with that and the conversation, but yeah, as a quarterback that wasn't great at being a quarterback in high school, I fully understand that concept more than ever. And I had to get a visor to get the spit out of my eyes by the end of practice. But hey, it all is part of the game, not purposely, but just he was a mouth talker. Looking at the other games we'll get to coming up here, one of the good-hearted moments, by the way. How about the 4-time cancer survivor this week for Minnesota. Did you see that heartfelt moment? That was cool. I mean, that's just a cool moment. 4 times battling cancer and beating it right there. You had an opportunity. P.J. Fleck was in tears as they were able to get the win. And, just one that won't be talked about a lot, but Casey O'Brien being on the field right there goes beyond football, and a good-hearted moment in Minnesota. When we come back, we'll talk some more about the games. Penn State with a big victory as well, talking about the win for LSU right there. They need a little more cowbell in Mississippi State, and also get into some NFL news and notes and the possibility of the Dallas Cowboys, who now are back to being a contender. We're coming back for more right here on Talk Football with Coach K.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Dude, it's game day, and I'm fired up that football is back.
I know, but I'm bummed they don't show my favorite team on TV around here.
All right, well, what about that place Calvert's? They're a really cool English pub-style restaurant, and they have a really good drink menu.
Yeah, but what about the game?
Don't worry, they have the NFL Sunday ticket and plenty of TVs, so we can watch any game that we want.
Ooh, I just looked at the menu, and that Abbey Road burger is calling my name.
Calvert's in the Heights Restaurant and Bar, 3102 East Cervantes Street, calvertsintheheights.com.
Friday nights in the fall are a magical time. It's Friday Night Lights, where new stars are born, where agony meets victory. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM and sister station News Radio 92.3 AM 1620 brings you all play-by-play coverage during the week's best matchup. We are football. We are Friday Night Lights.
This Friday night at 7, the Washington Wildcats take on the Escambia Gators. Hear it right here on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
This is Peter on his motorcycle.
Oh, the open road!
And this is Peter off his motorcycle.
Please move your paper off my desk. Thank you.
On his motorcycle.
I feel so alive!
Off his motorcycle.
I feel like we covered that already, so...
On.
Wow! Look at the ocean!
Off.
Look at this article I found about urban planning.
You're better on your bike. Progressive helps keep you on it. Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola, 1330.
And welcome back. Talk football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Coach, nice win over the weekend. We talked to him on Friday. Coach Pete Shinnick, UWF going into Carrollton, Georgia, and beating the West Georgia Wolves, dominating. Only points they got was a safety by 30 points. Nice win right there.
Great win, terrible weather. And this is a win where they only completed 2 passes in the game. They still won it by that many points. But it's a big win for them, and they're now undefeated in the conference, a very tough conference.
Yeah, they've now won 5 straight and continue to roll right there for Coach Pete Shinnick's team. Taking a look here at some of the other headlines here real quickly, and we'll get to more on the week that was, and I want to get into the games right now. So let's talk a little bit about what that Auburn win over Oregon has meant for the picture because Oregon beats Washington this week. They come back. They were down 28-14 at one point. They come back and they get a 35-31 win. Justin Herbert, very good quarterback. He's getting better too. He's maturing. Last year he didn't have that confidence. That one of those rare decisions where a guy took college over the money and came back. He would have been a top 5 pick in this year's NFL draft. Maybe the first quarterback off the board with guys after Murray. Probably the second after Murray in number 2. Coach, I look at it and say he made the right decision because he has matured. He is a good quarterback, and their only loss was a game that Auburn battled back to win. And I got to look and say, you know what? If Auburn doesn't win that game, the shakeup that could be right now the college football playoff scene.
Absolutely. Listen, if Auburn doesn't win that game, Oregon, look at where Oregon is sitting right now. They're sitting in a great location to make the playoffs. Outstanding location. And then they would. They're a good football team. And you're right, Herbert's a good quarterback. I've given you the information that I've gotten before from some scouts who say he may be the number 1 quarterback taken even over Tua.
Wow. And that would be, and with the injury and what's going on, that could be something that is definitely a conversation piece coming up. By the way, they have announced for the November 9th game, the LSU and Alabama game will be the 2:30 SEC game. No shocker right there, whether Tua will play or not. But it looks like he's going to be rushed back, or not rushed back, but come back for the game and ready to go. We will talk more on the Roll Tide radio show coming up here after we're done at 1 o'clock. Coach, the big win right there for Penn State. They get a win. They're able to battle back. Not battle back, but fight off Michigan and that victory. Jim Harbaugh I've seen more of those upset faces, it seems, over the last 5 months in Michigan, and I enjoy it, when I see Jim having that face. But what a big win right there in front of over 100,000 people whiting out the stadium. What a great tradition. And have you spent some time? Have you been to Beaver Stadium and spent some time? Because that's a beautiful football venue.
Yeah, I've only been there one time. I haven't spent much time there, but it is a beautiful place and a great facility.
And a nice win, too. You talk huge. About that win, huge win right there, and it moves them up. Do you see Penn State as a legit contender this year?
No, I don't, to be honest. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. They're a legit contender. But do I see them getting there? No, I don't.
And then you have the game with Florida. They get a 38-27 victory. Kyle Trask, 4 touchdown passes. They're able to get it done. Jacob Copeland, right here from Pensacola, he had 3 big receptions, one including a touchdown early in the game. They win 38-27. Will Muschamp, obviously not happy, but he did make some strong comments about Dan Mullen being the right coach for Florida. Coach, I think he proves that each and every week, and Florida able to go out there. They've got a quarterback that in these tough games, it's raining, situations where it's loud, they have a confident quarterback that is making them better, where you could not say that 4 weeks ago.
Oh, I agree with you totally. That he has really steadied this football team down. He's given them some stability and also some reliability on him as a passer. Unfortunately, Franks was so up and down, peaks and valleys, didn't know where the ball was going to go. But anyway, it's been a good situation for Florida, and hopefully he just continues to grow with it.
In a couple weeks, they're both sitting there right now, Georgia and Florida, number 9 and number 10 in the country, 5 teams in the top 10 for the SEC right now. Coach, if you look right now, Florida and Georgia, at the beginning of the season, it would have been about a 2-touchdown favorite for the Georgia Bulldogs. Right now, currently, this game is right around a 3 to 4 point spread in favor of Georgia, according to the pundits in Vegas. Georgia didn't look great this week. They looked like they had some problems against Kentucky. They won 21-0, but it was 0-0 at halftime, and it was a bad weather game. But still, you got to be able to be beating Kentucky at halftime at home after what you did the weeks before against South Carolina. Georgia-Florida is setting up to be not only a big game, but a chance whoever wins that game to set up whoever wins the SEC title game to be able to possibly go to a national or a college football playoff.
Oh, well, I think that's in the works for sure. But and it is a big ball game. But Georgia lost all their receivers. And it's very obvious to me he's got nobody to throw to. So big advantage for Florida. I look for Florida's defense to really step up. And you might see them stack the box, with 8 and 9 people up there against Georgia. So it should be a very, very interesting football game.
Coach, who are you the most impressed with the teams outside of the name Alabama? And they had their days, but not having two in the second half was a little different. Ohio State beating Northwestern 52-3, Oklahoma throttling West Virginia 52-14, or LSU 36-13 over Mississippi State. Which one of those was the most impressive win this week to you?
Well, you'd almost have to say Ohio State with their blowout of Northwestern. Northwestern's a tough football team. Not very good this year. Got a lot of problems, but that was big. But let me tell you, keep your eye on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow could end up, we're talking about Herbert, the quarterback at Oregon, and we're talking about Tua. Burrow could end up being the first quarterback to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is really, really playing exceptionally well. And I love their scheme. I love what they're doing now. When you see them play, it's not like watching a college team play. They're playing like a pro team. Some of the pre-snap looks he's getting, the quick throws for touchdowns based on a pre-snap look, they're tough. They're extremely volatile, if you will, offensively. They can make things happen. So I'm impressed with that. Quite frankly, they're not playing as dominantly on defense as I would have thought, but they're not keeping the ball that long. They're scoring. Do you know that Florida had the ball 16 more minutes than LSU in the Florida-LSU game? 16 minutes. My gosh, that's over a quarter. But they score so quickly, they don't keep the ball.
I mean, we both sat there. We hosted shows before here and had worked together, Coach, and we had always said Jalen Hurts, good quarterback or a good player, good athlete, good man, what he did off the field. However, as a quarterback, a pass-efficient quarterback, he had to work out the tools, the kinks. He was the SEC Offensive Player of the Year, but Alabama fit a system where he didn't have to go out there and throw downfield. Coach, I haven't watched a ton of the games because they've been such a heavy favorite in the Big 12, but I did watch a little this week against West Virginia. And, yeah, he's not the perfect passer, but 16 for 17, 316 yards and 3 touchdowns. Really, you can't get much better than that.
No, and they're well. For first, and let's be very, very honest, he has improved tremendously.
More than anybody I'd say in college.
And really has. I think he worked like crazy on it over the off season, and he's got a coach who's helping him a lot out there with that running game that they have and the way that they utilize the quarterback in it. They're getting people wide open. And, I mean, all you got to do is hit the barn door to get it. But I'm not degrading him. Listen, I love the kid. I think he's one of the prize kids in college football right now.
Well, Coach, if you'd like, we can stay around. It's the Roll Tide show, but if you want to stick, and we can still talk some more football coming up here if you'd like.
I'll try to stay around. Yeah, I will.
Okay, all right. We'll continue the conversation coming up here. A continuation with Talk Football with Coach K on Roll Tide Radio right here on ESPN Pensacola.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, I'm Davis Allen with your sports headlines. Make it 5 in a row for the Argonauts as the West Florida football team defeats West Georgia 30-2 on Saturday, pushing their record to 5-1 with a perfect 4-0 record in Gulf South Conference play. In NFL action yesterday, Aaron Rodgers accounted for 6 total touchdowns as the Packers crushed the Oakland Raiders 42-24. The San Francisco 49ers stay unbeaten with a 9-0 win over the Washington Redskins. Jacoby Brissett threw 4 touchdowns as the Indianapolis Colts defeat the Houston Texans 30-23. The Dallas Cowboys snapped their 3-game losing streak by beating the Philadelphia Eagles 37-10, and the New Orleans Saints won their 5th straight game by stopping the Chicago Bears 36-25. Other Other scores in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals defeat the New York Giants 27-21. The Rams over the Falcons 37-10. The Buffalo Bills, they move their record to 5-1 with a win over Miami 31-21. Miami remains winless. The Minnesota Vikings over the Detroit Lions 42-30. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they win over the Bengals 27-17. The Bengals also remaining winless. And the Baltimore Ravens, they topple the Seattle Seahawks 30-16. In Monday Night Football, the New York Jets look to score an upset as they host the New England Patriots on Monday Night Football at MetLife Stadium. In college football, Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is recovering from surgery on his right ankle. Tagovailoa took a hit in the Tide's 35-13 win over Tennessee that knocked him out of the game. He will be missing next week's game against Arkansas. And the World Series matchup is set as it gets underway tomorrow with the Washington Nationals hosting the Houston Astros in Game 1 in Houston. Max Scherzer will be on the mound for Washington while Houston will have Garrett Cole on the mound. The Nationals are competing in their first World Series in franchise history. I'm Davis Allen with your sports headlines for ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Gordon Auto Wholesale says yes. No credit, bad credit, bankruptcies, no problem. Over 250 vehicles in stock. Third-row SUVs and trucks. Everyone's approved. Gordon Auto Wholesale is the bank and can help you get into a nice, clean vehicle. Carfax checked. Need a new car? Gordon Auto says yes. Can't buy one from the other dealers? Come see Gordon Auto Wholesale on Palafox just 2 blocks south of Airport. Or call 479-9200. That's 479-9200.
Stephen A. Smith here. If you're like me, you have a mortgage and a family who depends on your income, then you need to protect the ones you love with life insurance. Life insurance can help pay off a mortgage or send the kids to college. It's peace of mind. Think you can afford it? Chances are Select Quote can help you get it for less than $1 a day. Select Quote comparison shops up to 10 highly rated companies, including Prudential, Banner Life, and Mutual of Omaha, and others, to find you the company with the best rates. For example, Select Quote could find a 35-year-old man a $500,000 policy for under $21 a month. That's less than $1 a day. Select Quote's breakthrough technology allows them to quickly match you with the best insurance company to find your best policy. Plus, quotes are free. Start protecting your family today. Call Select Quote at 1-800-601-6992. That's 1-800-601-6992. Or go to selectquote.com/Smith.
Get full details in the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
This is a message for all parents. If you as an adult think it's tough being separated or divorced, have you truly stopped to consider how your being separated or divorced affects your children? How parents treat one another, either during or after divorce, can have lifelong effects on your children. Whether you are separated from your spouse or even actually divorced, in either situation, keep in mind that you and your spouse are parents forever. Hello, my name is Stephen T. Holman, and I am a family law attorney. If you have questions regarding custody, visitation, or child support, call me today for a free consultation at 435-6909. That's 435-6909.
Tide Radio Show right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Thanks again to Coach K. Stevenson sitting in, and we'll talk a little more about some of the big stories around the SEC, college football, and more. And tonight, the Jets and Patriots will be in action. But the Alabama Crimson Tide, each and every Monday on the show, we break down another usual victory. That seems to be the theme. Hey, every single show we've done, so far they've won, but that's not saying much either because it seems they do that every week. But this week, a little bit different. After the injury to Tua Tagovailoa, Nick Saban today in the press conference said that it looks like they're doing everything to have him back for that LSU game. Tua said he should be back for the LSU game with that high ankle sprain. It is not the same high ankle from last year. It is a different ankle, and you only got 2 of them, so it looks like it's been a rough ankle kind of week for Tua. But overall, he should be back in that LSU game against Arkansas, a different story. Joining us here, kind enough to sit in another topic to get into more on Alabama and some of the other stories in college football, our good friend Coach K. Stevenson from Talk Football with Coach K each and every afternoon from 12 to 1. Coach, how's it going? And good to talk to you again.
Going well, and good to be with you, and good to be with our listeners out there. Great topic, though, when you talk about Alabama football. There's so many things from just the mundane, the tradition that we just had last week, third Saturday in October, Alabama, Tennessee. Now, it does, because of the record of Tennessee, it doesn't have the meaning that it did at one time. But there's a lot of tradition there. It goes back a long way.
It does, and yeah. And it's something, and it's funny, by the way, for the folks out there on radio, we didn't just jump into a mothership and go somewhere else. If you're listening to the show, Coach and I are sitting here in the exact same spots from where we just hosted the show. So everybody out there thinking, look, we're just creating that image, like we just jumped into a brand new atmosphere. We're just completing, what was a fun show earlier before talking about the teams. But Coach, looking at Alabama, and they got the game against LSU, but the college football playoff isn't going to get the top 4 teams in. We've gone over the scenario, but they're not going to get the top 4 teams in college football in. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to get 4 teams in. Last year, you could argue Notre Dame not being a top 4 team. Guess what? They were undefeated. They had beaten the teams like USC's and Michigan's and Michigan State's and everybody on their roster, so you had to put them in. If this happens again this year, where let's say LSU or Alabama loses by 1 point or on the final second of just what is a great football game, based on that Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, they all have pretty easy paths to get to that championship. There's not enough room for 2 of them. And, heck, we talked earlier, if Auburn loses to Oregon, there might not have been room. It would have been one team that won their division undefeated that might get left out. It's a rare year, and there's still a lot of football left, and people can fall. We see that late into the season. But if you have that scenario that I just went over, where an LSU or Alabama or a Georgia or Florida, someone gets left out when they deserve to be in, are we going to get closer to a college football playoff of 8, or Bill Hancock and the whole crew are saying, you know what, this was just one of those years?
Well, I think we're going to get closer to eight teams in the playoff. It just makes too much sense to do it that way. Now, keep in mind, when you go to 8, you will have a huge contingent out there wanting 12. And when you go to 12, if you go to 12, a huge contingent wanting 16. So you got to stop somewhere. But I do think 8 is a legitimate number to get to, and it would be a very equitable arrangement. Back to your question, whether to me the national championship game, if nothing else by proxy, will be played when Alabama and LSU play in 2 weeks. Now, whatever happens there, if it's a very, very close ball game, and one of those 2 teams loses by 1 point or 2 points or whatever like that, I would still think there's a good chance that they both could get in. That's my feeling, and a lot of things could happen. It's not just losses that could take place; it's how other people play and how they come out. For example, let me just give you one scenario. Oklahoma still has to play Baylor. Baylor's a very dangerous football team. I'm not saying Baylor could beat them, but Baylor may give them all they can handle. It may be a very tight ball game, or Baylor could beat them. Ohio State, I think Ohio State has a clear path, and Clemson has a clear path. And if you had Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, LSU, that could possibly happen.
Well, it's going to be exciting over the next couple of weeks. There's a number of teams right now. You've got Alabama number 1 in the polls. Once again, LSU at 2. No shakeup there. In the AP poll, Clemson being jumped. Look, coaches poll, Clemson's still sitting there at 2. In the AP poll, which is voted by the writers and the folks out there covering the games in the media, it is Alabama 1, LSU 2, Ohio State 3, who now has jumped Clemson as well, and then Clemson at number 4, Oklahoma at number 5, and Penn State at number 6. Those are your undefeated teams, and you've got Baylor's and SMU's of the world and Minnesota's, Appalachian States, but those are the 5 core teams, and then Penn State in that conversation as well. But, Coach, this is an exciting year because all the way to number, really, I would say 11 in the nation, you've got legit contenders, and Wisconsin just fell out this week after Illinois. But from 11 down, Oregon, Georgia, Auburn, Notre Dame, Florida, Penn State after that core group, These are all legit teams, and it's going to be fun to see because I haven't seen, even though we're not done with the season, we're going into week 9, but it's very rare you get this deep into the season and you've got 11 teams that are all pretty much legit candidates to go to the playoff.
Well, you're right, and it has been an exceptional year. And these are some very strong football teams. Who would have thought Georgia would have been where they are?
Or how good Oklahoma and Ohio State are playing.
Exactly, how good Oklahoma in particular is. So you've had some surprises. There were some people that felt there's no way Oregon would lose to Auburn and felt that they would run the table. Well, they were almost right. It's almost done. The win over Washington puts them in great shape to win out there in the Pac-10, Pac-12. So anyway, we'll see what happens, but it's an interesting year. You're right.
And Coach, everybody's talking about Alabama, LSU, and the games coming up. Well, guess what? For the folks that don't know, the game this week, there's one that's pretty big, and I've never seen a game get not talked about at all, pretty much, that is very detrimental to the overall situation, and that is Auburn plays against LSU this week. I mean, we're immediately jumping to the LSU 1 versus Alabama 2 category, which is, it should be fair. But Auburn's sitting here, and Auburn just won 51-10 at Arkansas this week. Their only loss was a loss to Florida in a grinder that many teams around the nation would lose that game. And you look right now at a team still in the top 10, number 9 of the nation. They've beaten Oregon. They've beaten Texas A&M at Texas A&M. Now, they've turned around. They've won some big games by over 30 against Mississippi State. Hey, look, Auburn, I've never heard of a team never talked about more, and a game just skipped over for what could be the biggest game in LSU and Alabama, as this week's game is when Auburn takes on LSU.
You're right. You're exactly right. And I'm guilty of it like everyone else.
So am I, yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Auburn has put together a very exciting year for them. Now, this game is going to be in Baton Rouge. I'll be